much anymore, but just for grins. 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so he's going to do, this particular guy is going to do, well, I should probably put in vol mine. So this particular guy is going to do 4 backups.
Okay.
Vol 1, 2, 3, and vol mine. Okay, so the fact that this is, in this case, I made it 4 terabytes, or I'm making it 4 terabytes right now. My goal is to try and get that back. Well, actually, I want to make it 16 terabytes is what I want to make it. Is to get 16 terabytes, or as close as I can to 16 terabytes in 24 hours. So if something happens to, 2 of these drives, well, 3.
You blow away the RAID set, right?
When I lose the RAID set, I have to restore this from one stream, which is the backup for vol mine.
So, explain to me the correlation between the vol mine here and the vol mine over there.
These are just the volumes that are on this.
Okay.
This particular head.
And vol mine is actually a superset of all volumes 1, 2, and 3.
Nope. Those are the volumes I just put on the filer. It's got vols 1, 2, 3, and vol mine. I can just change it to make it vol 4, so it makes more sense.
Gotcha. Okay. So essentially what you're doing is, if that thing goes away, you need to restore a single volume. That's why we're doing the
there
single
might be
stream.
multiple volumes on there, but more and more anymore, there's a volume on there. Actually, there's even a Q tree on there. But we back up at the volume level. So the backup list for this filer, filer 1, backup list for this filer is vol 1, vol 2, vol 3, vol 4.
So if there's only one volume, could we do a multi-stream backup? Or that?
Yeah, so here's where the challenge with that is, right? To say, okay, I'll break this up, and what I'm going to do is instead of backing up vol 4, right, vol 4 goes into dir 1, dir 2, dir 3, dir 4, dir x, right? So no problem, I'll just back up each directory. So the first thing that happens there is my backup's a little out of hand, but I decide I'm going to handle that, right? I need to, I'm just going to handle that. Because what I have right now is I have 200, actually it's grown since my last count because then I added a filer, but I have 255 volumes right now. Okay, so now I'm going to back up at some sub-level, say Q trees, and that gives me 1955 Q trees. That's a little bit more, ever so slightly. And since a lot of these are 1 volume, 1 Q tree, I might have to break it down further, but we'll just use this number and say, okay, I'll do 2,000 backups instead of 255. Rock and roll. I'm just going to take that on and say, I'll do it. So now, the cool thing is, if I break this up and say 4 streams per volume, if I lose the volume, I can probably restore that faster. But if I lose the filer, I'm still screwed. The filer will only handle about 4 streams, and after that, it wets itself.
Because you go to 5 and it starts to flatline, 6 it goes down, right?
Right.
Like what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, your performance for 1, we'll just make them like this: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just can't restore the filer any faster than I can with 4 streams. So if I break all this up, my complexity goes up considerably, right? But the fact that I can't get data back on the filer any faster, it really doesn't do me a whole lot of good. So I go to these guys and I go, here's what I want you to do. I want you to move from something like 255 backups to something like 2,000. And they go, well, thank you very much, Larry. That was grand of you. What's the win for me? And I go, well, under certain circumstances, things will be better. And under other circumstances, there's really no win for you at all. And they just go, really, maybe we need to hire a new architect. I mean, there's just not a huge win here. The only win I can have is if I break this data up and I take the risk now that I have to make sure I get, like 4 top-level directories, right? So this has dir, 1 through 4. Make sure I get all 4 top-level directories. So if engineering comes in at the top and creates directory 5, I've got a problem.
That's true.
Because I'm not backing it up anymore. So I'm adding a lot of complexity here. I actually have to go in and check this stuff, or I have to lock them in at 4 top-level directories. These have to be balanced, right? Because the directories can look like this. And it doesn't do, when we're talking about adding complexity, it's not a matter of just going, hey, piece of cake, break it into 4. I mean, it's not that simple. This is not a static environment.
No.
Somebody creates a 5th one, it's not being backed up, I have a problem, blah, blah, blah. And all that to say, under the one circumstance, I'm good, and under every other circumstance, still kind of screwed.
Okay.
And even if it was a trade-off, well, this will cost you the same as, about $7,000 a tape drive, which is about what we pay now per library. But it isn't. What I have to do is say, well, if we take on all this, we have the privilege of paying a couple of $1 million to get this system. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't have a whole lot to sell. So that's why I wanted to just go.
And right now, you guys don't have any problems with pushing all of your filers into your existing tape.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. You have plenty of tape resources to accommodate, right?
Yeah. Again, since you're taping all this, BR. That's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to get data back. Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to get data back onto a failed file or a failed file system as fast as possible. That's the sell for the investment.
Okay.
Right. That's the big sell.
And that's why we got to make it from dedupe tape.
Yeah. Well, again, we talked about whether it's deduped or not. I mean, there's challenges if it's not deduped, but
Yep.
But that's the deal of going to disk. That was the concept of going to disk, is to be able to pull it back very quickly. If a filer falls down. If a filer falls down or an aggregate falls down, to be able to pull that data back very quickly. And that's the sell for the investment.
And your overall, the reason for doing the 4 streams, because it gives you the greatest ability to restore what you need to restore, right, without having to go into the very complex configuration of setting up, backing up on the key tree level.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
if you some other sub-level, because
yeah.
the Q tree level probably won't even handle it here, right?
No.
A lot of these are one Q tree. You have to actually go to a directory level. I just use that as an example.
Yeah, but if you're doing the Q trees, like you said, when they
have.
add another directory, then that means you got to go back in and modify all your backup jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, on a daily basis, go through and say, was it directory?
So it's safer for you to back up on the volume level because that just grabs everything regardless of what they make.
Yeah, an engineer cannot create a volume. We have to create a volume.
Yeah, but they can create all the directories they want.
Absolutely.
And that will hose you if you don't catch it for weeks. Okay.
Absolutely. And also, even if you do this, as they build and delete things, how do we keep that in balance over time, right? Yeah. And even if let's just say we invent this automated process to keep it in balance over time, it's just magic, right? Then some guy says, I created or deleted this file or whatever. Along with this process, you have to figure out where the hell it was, Oh, that was in directory foo. Okay. What one was that? Was that in this group back in December, or was it in this group back in December, or was it in this group back in? You see what I'm saying? I mean, even if you could automatically balance it, if it's constantly changing how things are put together on tape, you have to manage that forever.
That's true. I appreciate it, Larry.